Hi, this is Sean Wayland here from cosc220 UNE. You're looking at the Statue of Liberty. I'm in Jersey City in New Jersey, and this is a video about the music project for the game, and I'm making this video on behalf of group ABBA, which devised the music classes. So maybe you can, I'm not sure how to get a picture of me. There I am. Oh, there you go, there I am. So here's my computer. I just wanted to tell you that all of us pretty much didn't use Turing. We used IntelliJ and wrote the classes using this and installed Git locally on our Apple computers, and we basically wrote one class called Play MP3, which is only on the client side at the moment. Here's the file system. It's in build, source, main, Java, sound. There it is there, Play MP3. So I'll just give you a very quick demonstration of it. I've done a Gradle run client, and you can start the music like this. So these menus were created by the drop table group, and we added a couple of buttons and we wrote classes. You can play the music backwards, or you can play the music and mute it. You can mute the music or unmute it, or you can play the music. Maybe you can't, maybe you have to unmute it first. There it is. And you can pause it. And then if you pause it, it'll stop in a certain place. You can hear that we have one audio issue, that there's some little clicks when the music starts. You have to listen carefully to hear it, but there's a little digital pop before it loads. Now, we also have created a couple of sound effects which you can hear when you press the back keys. So that's a demonstration of the program running and how we created it. Now, I've got a bit of a script here which I'm going to read, and the script tells you about our project and what we need to know. We created a class, Play MP3, which instantiates some objects from JavaFX Media Player and Audio Clip class. So Media Player and Audio Clip are a couple of classes that's in the JavaFX module that you can use to make sound effects or play little bits of music. We created 5 objects, all within the one class, Play MP3. One's for forward music, one's for backwards music, and there are 3 for sound effects, although we plan to add more sound effects later. The background music uses a media player, which is a type of object within the JavaFX media player class. This class, in combination with the media class, are used to start, stop, mute the background music. So there's various methods that you can call within that class. That's all part of the JavaFX package that we've used as methods that can be called from someone else within the code. It says the sound effects use a JavaFX audio clip. So there's a different type of object in this media player called an audio clip, which gets loaded a bit faster and runs a bit quicker than the background music thing. So it says an audio clip represents a segment of audio that can be played with minimal latency. So latency is how long it takes for you to wait to hear a sound. So if you go to the settings, sound settings, you'll notice that if you click play music, it takes a while for it to start. I'll click, but if you click the back button, you hear sound straight away. So we still don't know what sort of issues we're going to have in terms of latency when people are actually playing the game and how this is all going to work, but hopefully it'll work well. So let me see. So clips are loaded similarly to media objects. This is an audio clip but have different behavior. For example, a media cannot play itself. Audio clips are also usable immediately. The reverse music class calls an MP3 which has the MP3 file reversed. So I made some music. I wrote the tune and recorded it on my computer, and then I reversed the audio so that when you hear it reversed, you're just hearing an audio file reversed. I reversed it in a bit of music software. So it says the play MP3 class has various methods to start, stop, pause, mute and unmute the music. We initially tried to implement a MIDI player, which sadly Java FX doesn't seem to properly support, but it is included in legacy versions. The MIDI player provided by JavaFX.sound.midi system, etc. didn't work very well and couldn't play back a simple MIDI file accurately. It would jumble up the time, so it sounded like nonsense, especially at the start of the file. We had hoped to implement a synthesizer and algorithmically generate new music each time the game started, but ditched the idea when we saw how poor the MIDI player was. We decided that attempting to implement everything only using JavaFX's classes, which we thought would be easier to implement with everyone else's code. Initially, our big problem was getting the class to find the audio files. The solution, found by someone else outside our group, was to place them all in a folder within the resources folder and then to use getClass.getResource to find them. This worked on many different machines and operating systems. So I think this is to do with the way that Maven and Gradle look for things. So if you have a resources folder, it looks for resources in there. So that happened. And then we also encountered another Gradle issue. We had been using this thing and occasionally we got null pointer exceptions until we refreshed the Gradle project with IntelliJ. So we worked mostly with the drop table group to add the buttons, which I said. Other people in other groups wanted the music to be default off. The play MP3 class and its children is instantiated when the title menu starts up. At this point, the various sound effects and background music can be called as methods. Adding import rewind.client.sound. That's a good thing to look at. Where is it? Where's that? The play. Oh, that's that. It's this thing. It's that little bit there. Import rewind.client.sound. That's where our thing is. So if you have that import statement in your class, then you should be able to call our methods, but you'd have to instantiate the object. So, and these are the import statements that we used in our class to get it to work. So you might want to include those too if you had any issues instantiating the objects. So we still have to add some exception handling and control over how objects are to be instantiated. We hope to better understand how a class takes up resources and to be able to say completely mute all the sound and remove them from any resources. So we haven't set up any exception handling if the resources aren't found, and we haven't set a new new threads every time it's called, and there's not proper thread handling, so we're not really sure how it's all going to work and how much resources it's going to take up when it's running, but that's basically where we are at the moment.